Okay, we are live, but we're gotta let it breathe just for a few seconds. Connect the old Facebook and get things rocking and rolling tonight. Some big news dropped on us today. We're gonna be breaking it down here. Just got to make sure everything looks good. Welcome in, everybody. This is a gut reaction episode of the Orange and Blue View. It's been a few months because my friend here, Ron, has been without his podcasting part for the last little bit. And today, when that Dre Greenlaw news broke, we're going to break it down. I thought to myself, Ron, we got a podcast tonight, dude. Let's do it. But welcome back to your show, Orange and Blue View. Ladies and gentlemen, Ron White. How are you, big dog?
I am doing well, Chad. It is good to be back. It is good to be talking with all of you again. And yes, Chad, you're right. Some big news here as it pertains to one of the Denver Broncos' inside linebacker. I am really looking forward to getting into this. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you wonder what took so long. Why did they wait until week 3? But
Yeah.
I guess better late than never. But yeah, looking forward to talk with all of you tonight, and it's so good to be back in the fold.
All right. So one quick reminder, make sure this is pointed right at you because I have the same problem. We have the same mic. So if you move away from it, all of a sudden you drop off the signal of the sound of your voice. Just a reminder. But guys, what are we talking about here? Well, Dre Greenlaw has officially been placed on injured reserve, which means he is mandated to miss at least the next 4 games. So like Ron was just bringing up, you ask yourself, well, wait a minute. They could have placed, he's been injured since the first week of August. I mean, you could say he's been injured since even before then, but this new re-aggravation quad since the first week of August, why didn't they put him on IR to open the season, have that roster spot being filled by somebody who can contribute? But Ron, the only thing I can come up with on that front is obviously, we know for sure, obviously, to what degree and all the details, we don't know. But what we do know is they obviously expected him to be a little bit further along than he is now. So that's a little bit of egg on their face. The other egg on their face, Ron, is that not everyone, a lot of concerns were espoused when the Broncos signed Greenlaw back in March. Hey, he's injury prone lately. Poor guy can't catch a break. He only appeared in 2 games last year. What are you doing, Broncos? So they're not looking so hot now, but I do want to remind everybody, as disappointing as this is, it's not the end of the world. There's still a lot of season left for him to come back.
Yeah, and I mean the Broncos knew what they signed up for when it came to signing Dre Greenlaw and the other free agent signings with Dobbins
Yep.
and Hufunga and Evan Ingram. Now
Yep.
who's out with the back injury, so it shouldn't be a surprise. But as Broncos fans, you're just hoping that you were able to see him, and it started off in April when he had that initial aggravation of the quad, and then in training camp last month where another quad injury surfaced. And
Yep.
so I believe it was when that last injury surfaced is when they should have been like, okay, let's play this safe. Let's go ahead and put him on IR. Let it kind of heal up over the next 4 weeks and then see where it is. But, I know Peyton was mentioning it's a bit nebulous with
Right.
this injury. And
That's
it's
the
like,
word.
well, you should have kind of thought about that back when it happened and play it safe to where as though now you can maybe have talks into having him come off that IR in the next couple of weeks. Because Chad, let's face it, it's gonna sting. I mean, we saw what happened last week with the Indianapolis Colts game. It was
Yeah.
it was it was
Brutal.
brutal. And so now I think with the Chargers, you would have loved to have him out there for tomorrow. I don't think Cincinnati is that big of an impact, but definitely when the matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles comes into play is when you're going to really feel that impact of Miss Greenlaw missing.
Well said, my friend. And guys, let's just say hello to some of the members and folks in the chat. David Yunkin, thank you for being one of our valued members, buddy. He says, does anyone else feel like Greenlaw might be a bust? I thought it was kind of funny, Ron. I don't know if you saw this, but Kelberman posted today a two-part picture. One
Mhm.
side was Greenlaw, the other side was Randy
Gregory.
Gregory, and it said Broncos got bamboozled again. I don't know if I'd go that far. Zach's obviously having a little bit of fun on X, but String Guy, also a member, jumping in. Evening all. I wasn't expecting a podcast tonight. See, we kept you on your toes. Glad to see Orange and Blue View back on the lineup. I might be in the minority, but I think we can win this game. We're going to talk about Broncos Chargers tomorrow. Trust on that, Roger. Mike Thompson, buddy. Well, my optimism took a few hits, but I'm still taking Denver to win the next two. So, a couple of the most recent ones we just flashed here, Ron, or have their eyes already on the game more so than Greenlaw. So let's talk a little bit about tomorrow. The Broncos, of course, in LA, taking on the Chargers at SoFi. You have your prediction. Obviously, people can go and read it at milehighhuddle.com in the roundtable. But break it down for everybody how you're feeling about tomorrow.
I'm with the folks here. I do think the Broncos can and will win this game. Now the Chargers have come out hot. And Chad, it's kind of unexpected that Jim Harbaugh led team has come out hot in the passing attack.
Right.
So they're usually known for the ground game. So I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge dealing with that renewed passing game with Keenan Allen now back in the fold, Quentin Johnston catching passes, and Latin McConkey. So I think the Broncos do have a challenge on their hands, but I do think if the Broncos can be committed to the running game, I think that's the thing that we miss here with Peyton. It's the commitment to the running game and how he will just deviate from that to allow Bo to just step back and pass. And I feel as though now with J.K. Dobbins kind of want a little bit of revenge, there should be a revenge game for Dobbins. Have him run it, numerous times and play action off of that. And then I think this is a game for the defensive line and the defense as a whole to rebound. So I do think if they apply some pressure to Herbert and then stick with the ground game, this should be a game that the Broncos can win, can come away with.
No doubt. Like, if they're going to even have a shot at this, not to make it sound like it's some kind of David and Goliath, the Broncos are a dang good team. They're not playing up to their ability, but they're a damn good team. And if they're going to go in and win on the road, though, it's, hey, you got to get that ground game going. And I like the angle of the J.K. Dobbins revenge thing and what kind of plays into that. I think people, I wrote an article on this news yesterday and got some funny comments on social media, but thinking that I'm making too much of it. But you're getting Nate Adkins back, the Broncos' best blocking tight end. And that's going to come in handy as it applies, I think, Ron, to J.K. Dobbins getting his groove going, R.J. Harvey. That was something Sean Payton talked about earlier this week. Hey, coach, you only got your rookie second rounder who busted off a 50-yarder the week prior. He only had 5 carries last week. What the Sam Hill? And he's like, look, that's going to be better balanced. I'm paraphrasing him. There will be more opportunities for RJ, but yeah, this is a game where two things. If you don't get the ground game going on offense, and then on defense, if you basically don't pressure Justin Herbert, dude, he will sit back there all day, just like he's chip shotting, like it's a nice Saturday afternoon, drinking a few cold ones with the boys on the green. Like, he'll just have fun, leisurely, dink and dunk down the field, a few big plays. Next thing you know, red zone touchdown. You're going, what just happened? So you got to get the ground game going for me as a key on offense and get after Herbert, Ron, on D.
Definitely. Agreed. And, Chad, I really just want to see the two running backs. I want to see Harvey and Dobbins. For me, at this point, there's no need to have Tyler Bidet out there. And I understand, right? He's a good pass blocking running back, but he's done nothing really since the start of the season. So if they can just commit to those two running backs, play action off of that with Bo, and then I think, again, this is a team where the secondary can have a bounce back game. Now, again, I know the inside linebacker, which we'll get more into, what do you do? I mean, now Sternad has been okay.
Yeah.
I mean, is it one of those things where you maybe see promotion elevation for Lavelle Bailey or Corinne Reed, see some snaps on the field? But yeah, I do expect the defensive line, Benito, Cooper, to get after Herbert, and Moss and Surtain and Hufanga locking these receivers down. It just has to go like that in order for the Broncos to have a chance in LA.
Well, the goal this year was, of course, Greenlaw Singleton as the starting duo, and it hasn't gone according to plan. Not only because Ron Greenlaw's not made an appearance yet, but Singleton, man, I don't know if it's just all the time off. I don't know if it's the broken thumbs thing still, or what, or a combination, or him just getting old. But he looks old. He looks like he's just a half step behind everything. And meanwhile, Sternad giveth and he taketh away. I think he's done better than he hasn't so far, although there were a couple of real cringe plays last week in Indy. But moving forward, what do we know? Well, today, the Broncos, their two elevations from the practice squad are out. It's Adam Prentice, the fullback, and this is his third and final elevation. So after tomorrow, the Broncos will have to either waive him or sign him to the roster. And then when they waive him, he has to pass through the waiver wire, and then he can be re-signed to the practice squad. Meanwhile, they also elevated Garrett Wallow, an inside linebacker, because they're carrying 3 on the practice squad currently. Wallow, Lavelle Bailey, you mentioned, and the other the undrafted rookie, Jordan Turner. And Lavelle Bailey was elevated week 1. We didn't really see him on defense, and he doesn't play special teams, so he had 0 snaps. Wallow, meanwhile, last week he played about 15 snaps, all on special teams. So he's a special teams guy. I'm thinking they're either going to sign Bailey to the active roster because he is the most experienced of that trio of linebackers on the practice squad. He's the most experienced guy in Vance Joseph's scheme. So I'm thinking they fill Greenlaw's spot with him. And if that doesn't happen, Ron, it wouldn't shock me if after Sunday's game, they sign Prentice to the 53 and figure out what to do from there.
Yep. 100% agree. I do think, yeah, Bailey is good enough to be elevated. And again, you're right on Alex Singleton, Chad. I just saw so many whiffs. He's very slow. Trying to tackle Warren in open space. It was just so bad. It was bad. So I just feel as though you can't get any worse at the inside linebacker position. But yeah, you mentioned Adam Prentice. Either waving him or signing back to the 53 after those elevations. But it's going to be interesting. And then I've been pining. I've really been wanting them to look at the free agent market when it comes to the inside linebacker. Just because we know what the Dre Greenlaw injury represents. I've been pining for guys like an Eric Kendricks to maybe come in. I believe he's still a free agent, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll check it out right now.
But yeah, just sign up just for assurance. And again, I was encouraged with Bailey. I'm a big Lavelle Bailey fan. But they have to get this inside linebacker position group fixed, whether it be in the draft or something next year. We just can't continue to be like this because, as you see, it's not been good. It's not been good. It's not been good at all.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what we have on the market. And by the way, there is one other kind of comforting, hopeful thing on the linebacker front that I'll get to here in a second. But while Ron's on this topic of what's it look like outside the roster, who's out there, let's touch on it real quick. So here are a few names I'm going to throw at you, Ron, and chat. We want to hear what you think too. You've got a 29-year-old Juwan Bentley. He's out there. There's Josie Jewell, who's 30, almost 31, but still, I don't even know if he's been cleared from the concussion stuff. He might not ever play again. There's Kazir White. He's 29, almost 30. I don't really want Devondre Campbell, all that headache he created in San Fran. And by the way, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that's correct. Never mind. Eric Kendricks, your boy, Ron, is still available. He's out there. Let me see who else kind of just jumps out a little bit. Ben Neiman, he's older. Well, some of these I'm not sure of because I see Garrett Wallow now. I'm looking at Spot Rack's website. I see Garrett Wallow mentioned on this list. And
might be a little outdated.
They might not have updated a few of these, but at the very least, let me just Google Eric Kendricks, because I'm with you on that. That's a guy I was talking about as soon as actually even before Greenlaw got hurt as a potential fail-safe. He's available. He's out there, Ron.
Yeah, and you would think with the Vikings connections with George Payton, it would have happened by now. So again, not to say that there could be some calls and stuff that are still ongoing. Who knows? But again, I just think they need some veteran, assurance or reassurance at that group, just because you can't, even moving forward with Singleton and Sternad, you just can't trust that, especially as they get into a lot of these more difficult matchups.
String guy, our friend Roger wants to know, Ron or Chad, what do you think of the Joe Alt Nick Bonito matchup? I see, Roger says, Alt winning that one. He's a monster. This is one of the key individual matchups of the game. Eric has done a good job on the podcasts this week, highlighting this as a matchup to watch, and there's a reason for it. I mean, it's marquee. Alt, of course, highly drafted guy last year. They put him at right tackle initially because they have Rashawn Slater as their left tackle. And then Slater went down in the summertime right after he got paid. And so Alt, hey, guess what, buddy? You're playing left tackle now, protecting our boy's blind side. And it's been 2 games, but he's looked really good. Has he been flawless? No. He's just been very, very good. But let me remind you of something, Ron. I don't say that you need reminding, but everybody out there, guess who else is really good? Nick Bonito. And so what'll be interesting to see for me, Ron, in this matchup is how well Joe Alt truly handles one of the preeminent premier speed rushers in this league, because not only is Nick Bonito's get off insane, times it really well, he's got that speed, but he's got that twitchy, bendy, he can spin, he can do things on an athletic level that, frankly, Ron, we haven't seen since Von Miller in his prime for the Broncos. So it is a key matchup. I feel pretty good about it, especially, Ron, because Bonito got shut out last week. He's going to be motivated.
Exactly. I was just going to say, I think this whole defense is going to be motivated, Chad, because I know they watched the film with Peyton and they did not like what they saw on tape. And so, yeah, I think Bonito, string guy, I'm just not sure if Alt's going to win it all the time. I do think there are going to be key scenarios where the speed of Bonito will show, like Chad mentioned, the ability to just bend off the edge. Like I've watched a lot of him on the All-22, and just, you're right, Chad, how he just bends so quickly off the edge and could just go up and attack the quarterback. You just haven't seen it since number 58. So I do think that Alt's going to have his hands full. Now, again, we know Joe Alt was great last year. Moving to the other tackle position, we'll see, because there is a difference between the right and the left tackle. Yep. But I do think that Bonito will get his pressures. You may see a sack or two in this game as well for Herbert from Bonito.
Looking at the 2 matchups last year, now granted, Alt was on the right side, mostly matching up with Jonathan Cooper. But looking at last season, so let me find Denver here on Justin Herbert. Let me see, he was sacked. So the first matchup, week 5, the Broncos got to him 3 times. And that was really kind of before Nick Bonito, really started to find his groove, for what it's worth. And then the week 15 matchup, the Broncos only sacked him twice. So, he's also, let's not forget, Justin Herbert, very athletic. He's not easy to get to. So you're going to have to win those matchups, baby. Let's go. We're believing in Nick Bonito. Luke, thanks, buddy. Great to see you. He's reminding everybody, smash the like button, follow, become an exclusive member on the YouTube, MHH YouTube. Let's beat the Bolts. Exactly. Lose to the Colts, smash the Bolts. Something like that. Some hellos to, where'd he go? I just had him. Well, I don't know. Well, here he is. There he is. Zachary, pardon me. Frog in my throat. Smouse in the house. Unique Prepping. Great to see you. Thank you for becoming a member, my dog. Really appreciate you. Pro 16. How you doing, big dog? Thank you for being a member as well. Come back healthy, Dre. That's all I care about, he says. Amen to that.
Amen.
Let's grab a super chat here from Ken in HB. I hate surfing in HB. Hate surfing in HB. Yes, dude. I'm singing some DI, some punk rock about I hate surfing in HB because Ken here got to be in Huntington Beach. That's the HB. But great to see you, bud. Thank you for the super chat. You're probably sick of me singing that song every time you drop a super chat. But thank you, pal. He says, I'm going to the game tomorrow. One of the benefits of living in Huntington Beach, Chad. See, he knows it's the inside thing between us. I don't think he's much of a fan of DI. I don't recall on that front, but you know what I'm talking about, dude. Have fun at that game.
Yeah,
and that's one of the encouraging things here too, Ron, is it's not the normal super fraught, super antagonistic opposing stadium. This isn't Arrowhead. This is SoFi, and it's the Chargers that half the stadium's going to be wearing orange.
Mm-hmm. Right, and you saw it last year where, in that Broncos loss, it was more than half wearing orange. I mean, again, the Chargers play there, but let's face it, that's the Rams stadium. That's home to the LA Rams. So, but yeah, Kim, have fun at the game tomorrow, man. I'm jealous. I'm really jealous.
Oh, and by the way, Joe's saying, hey, trying to get my tickets for the Week 7 Giants game.
Ooh,
See
nice.
you guys at the meet and greet. Yeah, dude, that's coming fast. We're a month away. It's going to be so freaking fun. Week 7, October 19th. Can't wait. More details as it gets a little bit closer. But yeah, you don't have to have a special ticket to hang with us. We're just going to be there. Whether or not you go to the game, that's up to you. Todd Ostendorf, one of our great members. I mean, the pass rush is supposed to be slowed down by an effective run game. Broncos had no answers for the Colts run game either, and somehow the team was still in the game. Well, yeah, the reason for that, Todd, was Bo Nix. Everyone was hoping he'd have a bounce back after that 3 giveaway week 1 debut, and he did, man. He put 3 passing touchdowns on the board in the first half, and not only that, Ron, it hasn't happened too often since Sean Payton's been the head coach for whatever weird reason, but he drove down on the first possession of the second half, did Bo Nix, and get a touchdown there too. That should have, against most opponents, we're not talking about Philly, Buffalo, Baltimore, some of the freak elite teams. We're talking about the Colts. 4 touchdowns inside of 2 quarters and like 5 minutes should be enough breathing room, but the defense could not stop a nosebleed.
Yeah, and that's the story. That's the story, Chad and Todd. The defense just could not stop anyone. Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren, they were just having a field day. And Todd, I see what you're saying, but also you have to look after that touchdown, after the second half opened, the Broncos didn't score again. So, you just had the defense not living up to expectations with these lapses in critical moments.
Yep.
The Bo Nix interception. When they had the ball, they also had these penalties. J.K. Dobbins with the penalties, the Adam Troutman penalty.
Yep.
And then obviously that last penalty for the field goal kick. So again, these lapses confounded with a struggling defense, that's not going to win you many games. So, I know Peyton preached it to the team this week of we have to play disciplined football.
Yep.
And again, I'm hoping he's also talking to Bo about that interception because let's face it, Chad, on that play, they could have just ran the ball. I think they were just getting hungry for points. And it's like, just ran the ball. You're already in field goal range, so you can kick the field goal. So again, you have to learn from key moments like that when the defense is struggling. You should have to find different ways to win. And you're seeing this, Chad, with a team that's still young, trying to find their way.
Yep.
But you have to play clean, disciplined football. That's why these teams like the Ravens, like the Buffalo Bills, are in contention every year. So hopefully the Broncos can learn from that moving forward.
Yeah, that interception was definitely the turning point. Was it the reason? No, but it was the turning point. Max, thanks for being a member, big dog. Pass rush has to get some sacks this game. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I want to grab this from, where is he? Our friend Glenn Ashley down in Oz. He's in the future, checking in from he's on Sunday, the 21st of September, because, he lives in Oz. Glenn says, good morning, Chad, Ron, and Broncos country, because it is morning where he's at. He's a future guy. Quads can be a little funny to rehab and sometimes take longer than estimated. Common for setbacks. That's another thing I wrote about in my article today is we already know for a fact he hasn't recovered as quickly as the Broncos thought he would, or else he would already be on IR. And or plus there's a chance maybe he had a setback. Mm-hmm. Glenn, common for setbacks with quads. He might not have looked IR worthy initially. This comes from experience. I prefer to have him ready for the deeper end where it matters most. I trust our medical team. They've been very good. Broncos for life, MHH for life, state of being. That's right, buddy. Broncos country is not a geographic location. It is, in fact, a state of being, and it's wherever you are. And thank you for checking in from Melbourne, Australia, big dog. Appreciate you so much. Great to see you, Glenn. And yeah, hey, Sean Payton, the one thing we can count on, Ron, isn't going to tell us all the gritty, nitty-gritty details. Tomorrow, first of all, they timed it perfectly, a Saturday. We're not going to get to talk to Payton until after the game. And no one, whether it's a victory tomorrow or a loss, slightly better odds if it's a victory, but no one's going to be probably dare to even ask Sean Payton about Greenlaw tomorrow. Maybe a chance that Monday morning, but that's fine with him because that one's actually a phone call, conference call. So it's a little less, intimate, let's just say. So we're not going to find out all the details. Payton doesn't talk about injuries. We have to infer. We have to put on our Sherlock Holmes detective hats and infer what the Sam Hill was going on and what we can say for sure without jumping to conclusions that are unreasonable, Ron, is he just didn't progress as quickly as they thought with the quad, and there's a decent chance he suffered a setback.
Yeah, could very well be. And Glenn, you bring up, good points, about the quad, because you're right. Quads, hamstrings, they can be so unpredictable. You just don't know with those types of injuries. So the Broncos probably thought, he was on track to start a couple weeks into the season. And then come to find out could be that setback that prevented him. So we'll never know. And again, you're right, Chad. Payton never, he doesn't talk about injuries. You'll get chewed out, if you even bring up, injuries in those press conferences. But only time will tell. Only time will tell. Again, hopefully with him going to IR and, hopefully, he can heal up well enough to where as though we can see him in his Broncos debut when we're at the meet and greet. Let's hope so.
That would be so cool, man. That would be so cool. Let's hope. Let's pray. Mike, I agree with you right here, big dog. A lot of people are freaking out, not just because of the Greenlaw thing, but the fact that it's kind of been a slow start. Even if they had won that Colts game imperfectly, let's say the leverage call, and yes, it was technically, Todd, a leverage penalty by the letter of the law, but let's face it, the refs just decided that, we've seen that happen 10 times today. We're going to go ahead and call it now with all the chips on the table. That's another point. We're past all that. But the Broncos, they could have won that game. Let's say that leverage didn't get called and he missed it. They hang on to win 28-26. And Broncos fans would still have this kind of feeling of dissatisfaction just because nothing's come together completely yet. You've seen one unit, like in week 1, the defense was hot. Offense struggled. Then in week 2, the offense was pretty dang close to hot for a good chunk of the game, but the defense couldn't stop anybody. And meanwhile, this Darren Rizzi guy, who's supposed to be a massive special teams upgrade, he's given up heck of yardage in the punt and kick returns in the first one, plus Marvin Mims muffs a fumble. Second one, better punt and kick coverage, but you've got the gaffes, right? You got the missed Lutz field goal, which this was not a 50+. That was when you're in 45 and under, man, you got to hit those, especially on the road. And then, of course, the leverage penalty. So fans, they would be dissatisfied, I think, Ron, right now, because Broncos fans do have such a high standard and a set of expectations. But now that they're 1-1, people are even more kind of anxious about things. And Mike here saying, one of our great members, the season, let's remember, guys, at 0-2 last year, it looked grim after 2 games, etc. Right? So meh is his point. And I don't think it's a bad point. I think it's very salient. Bo Nix and Sean Payton as a tandem. I think, Ron, it's pretty. We can start kind of living by this a little bit as time marches on through the years. They're probably going to be a little bit slower getting out of the gates. Bo Nix didn't find his stride. Let's recall till October last year.
But yeah, and I understand that as well. But you got to help Bo Nix out even more as the head coach. And again, I'm always under the belief, Chad, of staying committed to running the football. Again, you talk about RJ Harvey and trying to get him more touches, and 3 running backs, that's too much. Well, you have the capability to change that. And I think you're right with the 0-2 start last year, but the head coach himself has set expectations very high. That's the difference with this year.
True.
So again, no one thought that the Broncos were going to be in playoff contention. I think we did. We thought that they were going to be a playoff team just because, of the expertise of Sean Payton. But now that the head coach has set Super Bowl expectations on the team, you have to go out and win the games you're supposed to win. And the Colts are a team that you're supposed to beat on paper. So, that's the difference. And again, it goes back to, as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, playing clean football, not having these lapses. Because this schedule, the next few weeks, it's going to ramp up here. Chargers this week, at home against Cincinnati, and then on the road against the Super Bowl champs. So they have to get it in order here in order to live up, or at least live up to those expectations.
Very well said, my brother. Here is Kirk checking in from Canada, north of the 49th parallel. Kirk's checking in. Love to see it, dude. Great to have you on Facebook. Pro16, one of our great members, says Sean Payton needs to try something new with the play calling, but his ego won't let him. This may be holding the Broncos back. See, that's a pretty common thing I've heard of late, Ron, in the MHH live chat rooms, is that Sean Payton sucks at calling plays and it's time to hand it over to Davis Webb. I'm not there yet. Not only am I not there yet, like I will never get there. Like if you blindfold me and say, hey, here are your options. Who do you want calling offense today? Sean Payton or Davis Webb? I'm saying, please, Sean Payton. So it's not to say that he hasn't had his warts, right? These first 2 weeks of the season, there's some things you're going, really, what's going on? Especially some of the balance has been a little bit out of whack. But at the same time, the Broncos run game is massively improved. It really is. Yeah, only 2 games, so the sample size is super small. But, Ron, we're talking about an offense that last year was like, what was it, 500 and change was their leading rusher, a guy named Javonte Williams. I can't recall where they finished. I think it was something like 17th, 18th in rushing maybe. But you take away Bo Nix's 430 yards, second most on the team, and they're like 28th, 29th. Now they're sitting here 2 games in at 10th. I take that as a strong, a positive harbinger of what's to come.
Yeah. I mean, in the course of 2 games, Chad, J.K. Dobbins already has 139 yards.
Yeah.
And with Harvey has 78. So that's a big improvement from last year. And I as far as Peyton's play calling, I don't know, I've been kind of going back and forth on this. There are times I'm like, it may be worth giving Webb a try. But I will say this, like that start of this past week, that game when Bo had 3 touchdowns and you saw some of the play designs that Peyton was running, you're like, okay, Sean Payton's in his bag. He hasn't lost his fastball yet. So you see, how he has things scripted, in those first 15. Like he really does set up his offense well. I think I would just like to see, more emphasis on ground game. And I think that's where some of the reasoning comes from the fans that say, hey, to put Webb in, because you see a lot of Bo dropping back, throwing the football when in certain scenarios that shouldn't be the case.
Right.
And so a lot of them are saying, hey, let's go ahead and let Davis Webb do it. So I think it's certain times what you call matters. And I think Peyton needs to kind of get a little bit better with situational play calling. I think the play designs, what he's drafting up, love it. He's mirroring old school concepts with the new school, and it's coming together as we see. It's just that situational play calling that he really needs to get a hold of.
I think that's fair. And I do understand, I do understand why fans are having doubts about Sean Payton, the play caller, but I'm old enough to remember this dude was and is still viewed as one of the top 5 brightest offensive minds in the 21st century NFL. Who was that? I'm brain farting. The former Chiefs coach and won it all with the Rams, Dick Vermeil. When he went into the Hall, the Broncos had just hired Sean Payton, and he said, "Look, there's 2 guys when the recent NFL when it comes to offensive minds: Andy Reid, Sean Payton." So look, I liked what I saw from Davis Webb as a play caller in his game 2 of the preseason kind of audition. It would maybe be cool to include him more. He is the pass game coordinator now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not there in terms of let's replace Sean Payton. William James Baker jumping in from across the pond. Hashtag state of being, big dog. Thanks for being with us. Saying morning, my bros. London calling. Another punk rock reference, dude. The Clash, dude. What's going on today? Or is it maybe just me? I don't know. I'm expecting, says William, a very electric game from the defense this week. You can always tell where they're from, even if they don't say it, Ron, when they spell defense with a C. Or like realize with an S at the end, We're going to have to be at our very best to break their offense with a C down. Yeah, no doubt about it. I am hoping to see, Ron, an electric defensive rebound game. Am I counting on it? Like, do I see it totally written in the stars? No, and I'll tell you why. You didn't force Daniel Jones to punt even once. And the previous guy you went against, as good as you did, was a rookie making his first ever in the history of his life on the planet NFL start. So I want to see it, then I'll get excited a little bit. Show it to me a little bit against a quarterback not named Ward, and I'll start getting a lot more bought in on this concept, Ron, that, this could be the best defense in the NFL. Far from it through 2 weeks. Let's be frank.
Yeah, definitely. And especially from last week, it's far cry from the number 1 defense in the league. And I just want to see an aggressive, a motivated defense, a defense that knows in the back of their mind that they deserve to be near the top. So, and that's not only just the defense that has to execute, but it's also Vance Joseph, making sure he can, call up good schemes to put this defense in a good position to pressure Herbert. And on offense, again, the same. I want running game to go well. In addition to that, Bo Nix just needs to play not a perfect game, Chad, just a clean game.
Clean. Yeah.
They want a clean game out of Bo with a support of the running game. And if this defense can come out and just, again, be motivated to play, I like the Broncos' chances.
I think that's fair. If you're just joining us, guys, the topic of today's podcast, the gut reaction, is to the news, of course, that Dre Greenlaw, the Broncos' $30-some-odd million linebacker, has been placed on injured reserve, short-term, the soonest he can be back, if he actually gets up to full wellness with that quad, is week 7, which happens to be, of course, the same game. The meet and greet is going to be in full effect. Broncos, Giants, Mile High. It's going to be awesome, a fun game. Let's hope Greenlaw's back. But the wild card that people are maybe not thinking about, it's not going to save us tomorrow, I should say. It's not going to save us the next week. But Drew Sanders is still a thing. Drew Sanders, now look, is he some proven stud that's going to come back and completely save the day? No, but the Broncos have said on multiple occasions as early as this offseason, they view him as a permanent fixture, as a long-term starter kind of guy. He just, similar to Greenlaw, has had a real bad recent streak of injury setbacks. Ron, how excited are you about the potential of getting getting Sanders back again, the soonest you could get him back is week 5.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Drew Sanders coming back. You know, he showed great potential. I love the athleticism. So you'll see that flash on film now. It will remain to be seen if he is the true solve at the inside linebacker position. But I do think as far as the twitchiness and trying to have plays out in the running game, he can definitely be an upgrade over what we see in Alex Singleton. So this current version of Alex Singleton, I should say. So again, I am excited, but I still think even with Drew Sanders in the fold, you still want to have some insurance in that position just because we don't know how he's going to look coming back.
Yeah.
From that injury, that's another question. And I know they have like certain pressure packages for Drew Sanders, which we were looking forward to.
Yep.
But I think probably need to kind of temper those expectations when he enters the fold. Again, the upside, the potential is still there. But it will be remain to be seen if he gets back.
Fair. I don't know exactly why he's coming up, but I'm always game to talk a little Jay Cutler with Todd Ostendorf. He said the problem with Cutler, he'd go in the tank. Once he started making mistakes, they would compound. He'd go downhill. Bo Nix, on the other hand, is not built to quit. He will fight the whole game to win. That's a big difference between Bo. Yeah, the whole tank, Cutler letting mistakes and whatnot compound. I agree. But the big difference between Bo Nix and Jay Cutler is I don't think Jay Cutler lost any sleep if his team didn't win. Did he want to win? Sure. He'd rather win than lose. Whereas Bo Nix is not only up at night if he loses, but he said it just a couple weeks ago. He hates to lose. And Bo Nix is not the kind of guy that from a messaging standpoint throws out the word hate, even in a context of a football thing, lightly. When he says, I hate to lose, he hates to lose. He will fight to the bitter freaking end to avoid that. And we saw that as a rookie last year. And no, it wasn't his fault per se that the Broncos lost last week. I see people talking about who was it that said, I don't know if I can find it now, that I don't know why people are hating on Bo last week. Here it is, Jerron Washington. I don't know why people say Bo struggled last week. No, he didn't. He played really well. That pick was not his fault. It was tipped. He threw 3 touchdowns. Well, according to Bo Nix, I agree with your premise, Jerron, but he said, according to Bo, it wasn't tipped. He just missed. And if you look at the replay, Sean Payton kind of contributed to the perception it may have been tipped because after the game he said, I think it might have been tipped, but he hadn't watched the film yet. That was live. Bo Nix himself said, I just missed it. And if you look at the film, it's hard to see a tip. What really happened was right as he was winding up to throw, I think it was Quinn Miners got pushed right into him by the pressure, and he couldn't step into his throw. So he sailed it over a wide open Sutton. It was the right read. If he gets 2 milliseconds longer to throw, that's an easy connection, move the chains. Not only are you getting a field goal on that drive because you're already in field goal range basically, but you're probably rolling another touchdown onto the board. So no, but the problem is too, Ron, that came at literally the most inopportune time. You're nursing a touchdown. They needed a touchdown. You're in field goal range. It's fourth quarter. You can't throw. You cannot turn the ball over in that moment. So it's a live and learn situation for Bo. I mean, what could he have done different? Honestly, just anticipate the rush a little better. That's the only thing you could ask him to do. But we're talking like synapses of your brain firing. That's how much time he needed more to be able to connect on that throw.
Yep. I saw it the same way, Chad. And again, it's just those moments, but again, hopefully in this game we can get cleaner football from Bo Nix. But yeah, again, Sean Payton's always gonna have Bo's back. I mean, I didn't see a tip when I looked at the all 22. I just saw kind of the miss time with the snap and kind of where Sutton was, but living and learn. But yeah, you just can't have those turnovers in those critical moments. Casey.
Yeah, we got Casey Nickel jumping in on Super Chat, one of our old school OG Super Chat superstars, saying, "Yo, Ronald White, great seeing you on the live. I'm not thinking about Dre until later. I want to see RJ and JK, quote unquote, carry the load Sunday. 27-24 Broncos." That's Casey's prediction. And in the official roundtable, Ron picked Broncos 24-20. And your boy over here, I'll be a spoiler if you haven't read the actual article. I picked, unfortunately, not that I want to see this, guys. You got to remember, it's what do you genuinely, what's your prediction? Not what do you hope to see, what do you foresee? I picked Chargers 27-23, and I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And Casey, thank you. It's good to see you as well, my man. Thank you for tuning into the chat. And I'm with you on that last statement. Carry the load on Sunday. I'm right there. Just have a commitment to the run game. I want to see Dobbins gets his revenge. I want to see more Harvey, Chad.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really want to see more RJ Harvey. I mean, you saw him in that first matchup with the Titans and how he was able to bust off that 50-yarder. And I want to see more of that because the dude is just explosive.
Yep.
But you got to use Peyton has to use him more. That's all.
Casey, brother, thank you so much for the super chat. Big dog means the world to us. You know that. Helps us keep the lights on a what was maybe otherwise a sleepy Saturday evening. Here we are throwing down for y'all, so that helps a lot, big dog. Thank you.
Yes.
Glenn says, Bo Nix's accountability and standards that he holds himself to are a big reason why he will be the mainstay for 10 years. He will adapt and take learnings from last season into this game, and we're going to put it on the Chargers. Man, nothing would give me more pleasure, Ron, than genuinely seeing the Broncos put it on the Chargers, not only because they're a division foe, but, I mean, because, you hate them. I still, when I think of AFC West hatred as a Broncos guy since I was a child, the first team that comes to mind for me is the Raiders, because when I was a kid, that was the team that, you hated, man. The Raiders, Raider week still. Then the 2000s, like the 2006 through when Peyton Manning showed up, it was the Chargers. I freaking hated Phillip Rivers and those dadgum Chargers. And I loved the Jay Cutler Rivers rivalry. It was a lot of fun. And then, of course, the 800-pound gorilla became the Kansas City Chiefs. They've won the division each year since 2016. So until they're officially knocked off their perch, they're still the defending division champs and conference champs. But I digress. I want to see, back to Glenn's point here, Ron, I want to see the Broncos and Bo Nix just put it on the Chargers, give them their licks, snap the 0-2 to Jim Harbaugh-led Chargers streak that the Sean Payton Broncos have. And by the way, guys, we're at the 2-minute warning, not literally, but we're getting close to the end. So any burning topics, questions, get them in the chat. Back to you, Ron.
Yeah, I'm with you, Glenn. It's time to snap this streak. I want belt to butt. I want the Broncos to come in and just play smash mouth football. And Chad, we also have to think about the implications of this game. If the Broncos do win, they're first in the division.
Yep.
So that'll go a long way, moving forward to the game. So yeah, I really just want to see, a determined Broncos team come in and just play their style of football, to just upset the Chargers. I want to see Herbert struggling, and again with them running the ball, looks like they don't even have much of a run game, even with the likes of a Najee Harris and a Marion Hampton. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
So we have here Todd jumping in to say, I read that the Broncos special teams coordinator, Darren Rizzi, said that Broncos had poor execution on the 60-yard field goal, and that was on him. He did fall on the sword after Peyton fell on the sword. So you got two guys skewered on the sword. And I'll tell you exactly what he said. And this is not only him commenting on the leverage penalty in play, but also you got to remember that the Colts special teams coordinator, a dude by the name of Brian Mason, told local press there in Indy after the game they had identified a tendency in Darren Rizzi's special teams units when it came to high intensity block that sucker field goal situations. And so they had a little key they were looking for a jumper on that offensive line. And if they identified the key, point it out, and act accordingly. And the way that they were told to act accordingly was, if you watch offensive linemen in a field goal block situation, they stay low. All right. And I'm talking the long snapper and the two guards right next to him, they stay low. But in a, hey, we identified this apparent, tendency in the Broncos, and they realized that it's going to be Dre Tillman. What the guy was supposed to do, and he did it, was instead of staying low, he immediately popped up as if he was about to run block, which when Tillman's in the air, had no choice but he ends up with his hand on the dude's back and boom, draws the flag. Now, here is what Darren Rizzi said in response to the claim that Mason identified a tendency, yada, yada. He basically called BS on it. Here's what he said. Quote, listen, this was on Thursday. Brian Mason is a great young coach. I think Brian Mason is going to have a great career in this league. So I respect Brian. Listen, no one self-scouts more than us. We know our tendencies. And I would say this to you. The call that we were supposed to run, remember, they didn't have any timeouts left, so they couldn't fix what we've never run before, ever. So I would have to say that would be coach speak a little bit, Ron. Close quote. And so the idea, Sean Payton said it on Monday. Rizzi explained it again on Thursday. The play that was called, I don't know how much I believe in that it's the first time ever, but I digress. The bottom line was they were misaligned. And if they wouldn't have been misaligned, not only do they not get the leverage penalty, but maybe they even actually block it. Not that they would have needed to, because he missed it at the end of the day anyway.
Yeah. And again, it was that penalty calling it at that time. Still, I'm still
pretty ticky-tack, dude.
It's pretty ticky-tack for me. And again, it's a 60-yard field goal, right? So I think chances are him making that were low to begin with. But yeah, again, that's all under the bridge now. And again, hopefully they can go in and look at that and hopefully not have that happen again, because it was just a mess from the start, Chad. It really was.
Water under the bridge. Let it go. Hey, there it goes. Bye-bye. It's in the past. You can't change it. You can't get that toothpaste back in the tube. Let it go. Roger jumping in again to say, so Ron, with Dylan Von Arx on long-term IR, who's your new partner going to be on Saturday nights? Let's get Orange and Blue View back on the schedule. It is back on the schedule, guys. I'm stepping in with Ron. Ron's been sidelined through no fault of his own for too long. And so long as I can pull it off, which I should be able to until we find a permanent replacement. And I am looking. I have a few irons in the fire. Ron and I do. And so in the short term, though, I'll be joining Ron. Orange and Blue View, believe it or not, I made it sound like we just decided to go live tonight because of the Dre Greenlaw news. But Ron and I decided tonight was the day to get Orange and Blue View rolling again 2 weeks ago. And so here it is. And we're back. I'm not going to be the permanent guy, but I'm here until we officially find Ron's pard for the future. Because Dylan's situation, unfortunately, I mean, it's good for him and everything, but for the show, unfortunately, hasn't changed, and it doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. So I'm just stoked to have Orange and Blue View back in the saddle and Ron back on the microphone where he belongs.
Yes, String Guy. Thank you. Yeah, it'll be back soon. Again, I've missed all of you guys, talking to all of you. And looking forward to getting this back on the schedule as we move forward.
Hey, real quick, J-Ron, it's been cool hearing from you today, your takes. I want to invite you to become a member on YouTube. C. Chang, you as well, big dog. Great to see you. Become a member, my friend. Please win tomorrow. Go Broncos. Amen. Rodney, I want to invite you as well. Become a member, my friend, and help us keep the lights on. Hope to see a lot of orange at SoFi. Hope
you will,
and you shall receive.
You will.
You're going to see it. Trust. All right, let's grab this one and then we'll wind things down. We'll take one last look at the chat, guys, but we'll probably have this as our last one because we're at 54 minutes. DeAndre on Facebook, appreciate you being with us on Facebook, my friend. He says, they could have done it earlier, but I'm not mad. This is a good way too, by the way, Ron, to kind of tie tonight's episode and its various topics in a bow. So DeAndre says they could have done it earlier, but I'm not mad at the Greenlaw situation as far as the game plan against the Chargers. Run the ball, roll Bo out on bootlegs, play complementary football, and the Broncos defense has to be better and communicate. Most importantly, no self-inflicted miscues and penalties at the wrong time. Amen, DeAndre.
I couldn't have summed it up any better, DeAndre. You said it perfectly. It's just run the ball, have Bo on those rollouts, and just play good, solid defense. And again, the Broncos should come away with a victory and be first place in the division. Well said. Well said.
Pearl says, hi, Chad and Ron, with the best smile ever. Yes, indeed. He's back. There it is. All right, guys. A few messages here before we dip out. Want to remind you that the episode's about to end, but the conversation with Ron and I will continue on X, on Twitter. So connect with us over there, Ron, at Ron White NFL, myself, at Chad and Jensen, and then our main account, at Mile High Huddle. On X, lots of content getting cranked out there daily, aside from the live streams and the articles and all that stuff. Make sure that you're also following us on Instagram. And by the way, I connected us to about halfway through the episode to Instagram. So what's going on, Instagram peeps? Good to have you with us. I'll grab one or two of your comments here tonight before we dip on out of here. But make sure, guys, if you are not following MHH on Instagram, I mean, at this stage, who doesn't have an Instagram account? So guys, connect with us over there. Follow at mile_high_huddle. Lots of stuff happening there. If you're listening to this episode after the fact, and heck, even if you're not, and you're a live viewer on YouTube, and you have Spotify or you have an Apple phone, open up your phone, find Mile High Huddle Podcast. All the podcasts are under Mile High Huddle Podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. It goes a long way, guys. Help us out on that side. And if you want to get a hat like this or a coaching t-shirt or whatever, go to mhhmerch.com, get your swag on. And last but not least, guys, think about this. There are literally millions of Broncos fans out there right this moment, wandering the desert, completely ignorant that this community at MHH is here waiting to embrace them. And by you liking, making sure you're subscribed, and the biggest compliment is sharing this on your social media, that helps us reach those Broncos fans wandering the desert, and we'll bring them into the fold and make this thing even bigger. So subscribe, like, share, smash the like button, guys. Please smash the like button. It helps us out a lot. And with that, that's my spiel, guys. And Ron, once again, it's been a pleasure, dude. Great to have you back. Can't wait to do it again in a week's time.
Yes, glad to be back once again. Thanks, Chad. And hopefully next week, Broncos will be 2-1. And when we speak again, talking about the Cincinnati matchup, hopefully we'll be going into that with 3-1 on the on the horizon. So,
amen. Just real quick, some shouts on Instagram. Arbor Sully, we got a win on the interior of the Chargers O-line. Big spots for Zach Allen and John Franklin Myers to expose. Great point. J.R. Caprone. So if Greenlaw's not ready, even after IR, then I'm getting Randy Gregory vibes with this one. Yeah. Broncos plus 7.5 tomorrow from Sims. London Falling on Instagram is, London Calling. There you go. There he is, the William, both on Instagram and on, what was it, Facebook, I think he popped in. So anyway, we're signing off officially on Instagram, by Instagram. And when it comes to everybody else, thanks for being with us. Don't forget to connect with Ron and myself on X. And I don't remember, Ron, if you had any kind of special sign off. So for now, I'll just do it. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.